Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Friday, November 22nd, 2013. If you're listening to this on the radio and wish to watch it, please go to www.catex.com and you can view it there. We're reporting today from Princeton, New Jersey after 4 days in London. Several explosions have occurred in the past few days, actually the past few hours, of interest to the insurance and reinsurance community. Leaking oil from a ruptured pipeline in an eastern Chinese port city caught fire and exploded today, killing at least 22 people. The pipeline is owned by China's largest oil refinery company, Sinopec. It ruptured early today and leaked for about 15 minutes into a city street in Qingdao and then into the sea before it was turned off. Meanwhile, it somehow ignited, causing a fire, a sea of fire to burn in the downtown area. One explosion prompted by the fire occurred at a city intersection, and photos posted online showed shattered concrete slabs, presumably coming from structures, and burned human bodies on the ground. Calls to Sinopec's headquarters in Beijing were not answered. The collapse of a supermarket in Riga, the Latvian capital, that has killed at least 18 people. This happened yesterday afternoon. Searching efforts have continued all night and into this morning. Sniffer dogs are there, as well as the Latvian army. Apparently it was a supermarket that had been constructed back in the Soviet era that collapsed for some as of yet undetermined reason. A weather system has caused widespread flooding across the Arabian peninsula in the past few days. Initially, the thunderstorms stretched all the way from Saudi Arabia to Iraq, and then the system slowly dipped to the south. Saudi Arabia saw a death toll of at least 7 people, 5 are missing. The capital, Riyadh, was among the hardest hit. The international airport in Riyadh reported 20 millimeters of rain in just one day, which is an awful lot of rain from there. Iraq was also badly hit. At least 11 people are known to have died from rising floodwaters in that country. Credit Suisse now says that insurance-linked securities coming into the insurance market, the rate is going to double in 5 years by 2018. They say that about $45 billion has come into the market to date. They expect another $45 billion to come in the next 5 years. So that's yet more interesting news for traditional reinsurers. Meanwhile, one of those traditional reinsurers, of course, is XL. They're actually at the forefront as well as with ILS products. But their CEO, Mike McGavick, who's a pretty savvy guy, has warned that global regulators' moves toward increasing capital requirements for insurers will impede the industry's ability to cover the world's ever-increasing number of risks. He spoke in Bermuda the other day. He said, "We can't ignore the notion of additional capital requirements for an industry that has just passed the greatest stress test in 70 years. It's a foolish idea," and actually he's correct. He said, if you're a banking regulator, then capital is your first thought. Insurance has a different business model. Insurers should be allowed to come and go. Backstop capital is effective in their world, but in our world, it creates a problem. He said if insurers had to deal with backstop capital on top of additional layers of capital requirements at the local regulator level, then already return on equity, which was only in the high single digits, would then inevitably decline. McGavick is right. Of course, this warning bell began to be sounded by Munich Re and others when Solvency II began to form several years ago. The ratings agency Standard & Poor's has increased its outlook on the French reinsurer Scor to positive from stable. They also increased, it could result in an upgrade of Scor's rating from AA- up to A+ in the next 24 months. That's great news for them. The death toll from one of the strongest typhoons on record in the Philippines, Tropical or Typhoon Yolanda or Typhoon Haiyan, depending on which naming convention you're using, has now risen above 5,000 and is likely to climb a bit further. There are still about 1,700 people missing. Of course, the initial estimates had death tolls of about 10,000 or more. One of the focuses of the Lloyd's Vision 2025 business plan is to expand the delegated authority concept to emerging world economies. Yesterday in a speech in the old library, Lloyd's Sean McGavick, the general counsel, admitted that the market is struggling to sell the concept of delegated authority to faster growing economies such as Brazil and China. The benefits of delegated authority underwriting apparently have not yet taken hold there. Of course, 50 years ago today in Dallas, at about 12:30 p.m. Dallas time, President Kennedy was struck 2 times in Dealey Plaza as he passed through central Dallas on a motorcade, and then he died about half an hour later at Parkland Memorial Hospital. The assassination of the 35th President of the United States, at the beginning, if you will, of the TV era, marked a wake-up call for the generation that I guess came to be called the baby boomers. In fact, one of the best headlines I've seen was in the New York Times earlier this week, which had a picture of President Kennedy, and the headline said, "We interrupt this generation for ... There are observances going on around the country and around the world today, and we'll take a minute to remember him, I'm sure, at some point. Thank you for watching. We appreciate your viewing. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.